Hello everyone, Miranda McKay here, and welcome back for part 3 of Red Sonia. Okay, so we are here at Phoenix, Alien Ruin. That's where the third book is located, just north of Shaden Hall. I believe there's a quest here for something, and I don't really remember what quest this Alien Ruin is for. But I'm pretty sure there's a quest associated with it, besides the one we're on right now. I just thought I'd show you coming into this one because it's like, it's right on, it's right next to the door almost. You just go in, go down these hallways.
Oh!
Go through here. There'll be 2 vampires in here you have to take care of.
Let's get this over with. Ha! You're pathetic. Yeah!
Get in, girls.
This ends here.
Great. Oh, there
On
we
your
go.
side!
Whoops, sorry. Sorry about that, Sonia. I love ebony longswords. Let's see if yeah, I'll make sure I didn't get vampirism while I was fighting those things. No, it doesn't look like it. Alright, so here's the third book on the inside, like the first room in Phoenix, on the pedestal in the back. Alright, Ghouls and Ghosts 3 by Margaret Farrell, Necromancy and Sonia. The pain was agonizing and relentless, screaming along Sonia's spine, and when she tried to open her eyes, they seemed to be glued shut, and she supposed it was her own blood, and hoped it wasn't something worse. As she tried to move her head, a terrible spinning sensation rocked her, and she retched, sending stabbing needles of pain throughout the whole of her body. Her hands were tied, but the bindings moved a little as she pushed against them. A breath of air stirred Sonia's hair, and she jumped. "Don't try to move, the mistress will hear." The voice was soft and subliant, like a snake or lizard, and so quiet it was difficult to make out the words. Something soft, a cloth perhaps, rubbed gently at Sonia's face and cleared some of the mess away. Carefully she opened her eyes, just slits at first, though the room was dimly lit with a reddish glow. Kneeling next to her was a young Argonian female, trembling it seemed with fear. Her eyes were wide and glistening. "I am Smoke Eyes. Wait, I will unbind your hands," the Argonian hissed. When her hands were free, Sonia managed to get into a sitting position. She could see that the chamber wasn't overly large, and there were 8 marble pillars from floor to ceiling at each corner, but it was the center of the room that caught her attention. A dark-robed figure was facing away, unmoving and radiating a miasma of malevolence. It stood before an altar, but the contents were obscured from sight. Slumped on the floor in the corner opposite was the dread zombie that was her captor. Smoke Eyes beckoned for Sonia to follow her, and they crawled on all fours, skirting around the robed figure, using boxes and chests for cover until they reached the open doorway, and then slipped through it. At the last second, Sonia glanced back and saw the face that would haunt her for many years to come. It was also reptilian, but not an Argonian. Altered by hideous magics, it was deformed and diseased. Perhaps it was female. It was difficult to tell, and she backed away. As she backed away, the face lifted, the eyes boring right into hers, and it smiled with a cruel amusement. Crawling along a short corridor, they came across a small alcove and ducked inside. Sonia grabbed Smoke Eyes by the arm. "Wait, I have a friend, a woman. Have you seen her?" she said. "Her name is Ashen Rose." "Yes, I have seen her. She is safe, for now," answered the Argonian, her scales flushed red. "Where is she? Take me to her," Sonia demanded. "Later. You will find her later." She would say no more, not even about the figure at the altar, except for one thing. "Your friend has something my mistress wants. Do you know what it is?" Sonia had no idea what she was talking about, and could not get the Argonian to say any more. It seemed an eternity later that they reached a small darkened room where they could rest briefly. After hiding from the undead, and worse, phantoms and even giant rats and moving skeletons, strangely, none had come close, and it appeared they hadn't been detected. Sonia's weapons had been taken from her, even the dagger she kept in her boot. Smoke Eyes seemed content to remain in hiding, but Sonia couldn't just stay there and do nothing. She had to find a way out of this unholy mess. "I will remain for a while," Smoke Eyes said. "I am weak. Perhaps we will meet again." As Sonia started to leave the room, the Argonian clutched her sleeve. "Be careful of the traps," she giggled. She giggled? Sounds like a setup. The passages were laid out like some kind of labyrinth, and Sonia quickly became disoriented. The air was oppressive with traces of the poison she remembered from the last trip here, as she coughed until her throat was raw and she spat blood. The shrieking and moaning was getting closer, and the rattle and click of moving bones was nearby. The undead were hunting. Sonia seemed to be going in circles, but she needed a way to mark where she had already been. Otherwise, she would wander here until her death or undeath. Neither option appealed. The floor was littered with bits of stone and other debris, and she found a shard of marble with a razor edge. She gritted her teeth as she made a shallow cut in the base of her thumb and squeezed a few drops of blood so they fell to the floor to show where she'd already passed. Continuing on, she reached a balcony similar to the entrance of this accursed place, and she could hear she could hear a distant voice. She knelt down to look through the gap and saw a figure in the room below. It was Ashen Rose, pacing back and forth from one side of the huge room to the other, staying on the perimeter, pushing and pulling at the metal gates that were set into archways at each end, and both appeared to be locked. In the center, there was a huge metal vent built into the floor, and tendrils of greenish mist floated upwards from it. The switches to open the gates must be nearby, but first she had to find the way down. Following the narrow corridor around a corner, Sonia stepped forward, and the massive blade fell from the ceiling, and she only just managed to jump away as another fell behind her. "I hope you don't hurt yourself. Your body is young and healthy, and I can make use of it. Your mind, though, I don't care about." The voice sliced into Sonia's brain like a razor blade. It sounded like Smoke Eyes, and yet not. She knew who it was. The games had begun. A reckoning was coming. Alright. That's the third book. And you got a quest update. I found the third journal. Alright, let's get out here. Whee!
Whoa!
Alright, so the last one actually is here, or just east of Frostcrag Spire. I imagine it's that alien ruin that is. It's part of the Fighters Guild questline, if I remember right. But we'll pick that up next time. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you guys later.